Good morning. It is Saturday, November the 19th, about 7:30 a.m. This is Shay Gibson with iKitesurf and WeatherFlow bringing you a wind forecast. This goes out to the wind sports for Wounded Warriors down in Key West. Are having their retreat down here this weekend. So we appreciate all you've done and thank you for your service to our country. It looks like we have a little bit of wind to give to you down that way. As we zoom into the area, we're going to go just north of Key West. I believe I heard Bluefish Channel, which puts you just on the sandbar areas north of Key West. And we'll keep zooming in a little bit. I'm going to use the Smith Shoal Light just to the northwest to do the forecast point from. So it looks like right now we have about 18 knots gusting to 20 knots from the north-northeast. If you prefer miles per hour, knots are basically 1.15 miles per hour, if that helps you with the math. And it looks like this is going to continue to be the trend this morning. We may see some unbuckling of those winds this afternoon, and we'll talk about that. Right now we have a cold front that's going to be coming through. Let me back this up just a little bit. Cold front is sitting just to the west of the Appalachians right now. It's going to swing through the Carolinas today, stall along Florida tonight. It's going to push off the coast of the Carolinas, but it looks like it's going to stall just along Florida for a little bit, get hung up, and then push through by sometime tomorrow, midday to early afternoon. So before that happens, right about here where the cold front kind of gets hung up over Key West, we may see these northerly winds drive down, but they may weaken along the front. It looks like it's rather weak, and it is rather dry, even though there is a slight chance of rain. If we look at GRE on radar, we can kind of see an idea of what's going on. Most of the rain is going to stay to the north. It looks like the connection to the Gulf is very weak. It's drying out, especially with the southeast mountain wildfires going on. This whole tail end of the cold front, or this section of the cold front, is going to dry out rather quickly over the smoky, basically areas with all the smoke in the atmosphere. Very dry air it's going into. So it looks like it's going to break up. You may see some of this moisture from the western Gulf of Mexico sort of train over towards Key West in time. But it looks like pretty much a dry air mass in place ahead and behind it. So these are where the next shot of northerly winds are going to be coming in. Right now we have high pressure sitting right about here, and this is driving down northerly winds down into Key West now. So that's what's keeping the gradient on the tighter side to keep the 18 to 19 knots. And we'll continue to see that this morning, about 15 to 20 knots. And then we'll see a slow fading today as this cold front draws forward and this high pressure flattens out to the north. So it looks like we may see some ups and downs today if we go back to our surface map, or basically WSI surface map, and kind of get an idea right here where the cold front is in relation to the southeast region. This will push through to the east. This cold front will come down, get hung up along Florida, and then push through eventually by tomorrow. If we look at numerical modeling, the next shot of northerly wind lies with this high pressure right here over Texas. It's going to be moving to the east-northeast. In fact, if we put that into motion, we can see how that high pressure sets up to the north of Key West. And that's very important to know whether or not the winds are going to actually turn on or stay up or turn on. Looks like high pressure to the north is going to remain all the way through Tuesday, which is good because it keeps the winds up for that area. In fact, if we look at Smith's Shoal Light and look at the modeling, let me run all these models here. I know it seems a little bit techy for those who aren't that familiar with the winds, but basically what we'd like to do is just look at these models for guidance. They're not for certain, but it looks like for today, most of the guidance keeps this wind up on the higher side. It's actually above model values right now, which is a good thing because the models tend to not read the northerly increases very well, so we can always add just a few knots to whatever the models are bringing in. But it does show a trend this afternoon dropping down, which is why I'm going to call for the last night's forecast that I put on the Wind Sports from Wounded Warrior site, dropping down to 12 to 16 knots and possibly 11 to 15 this afternoon. We could see a build later in the day as high pressure sort of increases the gradient, and then overnight as well. So as we get into Sunday, looks like we kind of start out the same way. We start out in the morning a little bit stronger and have a little bit of a fade in the afternoon as that cold front approaches. But if it does move through earlier and that next round of northerly winds can really push down into the region, we may get that 15 to 20 knot build back over the Key West area. So that's kind of what we're looking at for today and tomorrow. As we get into Monday, pretty much the same thing for Monday. We even get a tighter gradient into Tuesday. Monday starts out northeast in the mid to upper teens, and then as we get into Tuesday, the gradient tightens even more as high pressure really builds to the north and increases the gradient overall. So if you're planning on staying a couple of extra days, looks like there is some wind in the forecast, but you may need to get on it early in the mornings before it fades out in each afternoon. So yep, that's going to be pretty much the trend for the next few days, is some ups and downs, with the morning times looking a little bit stronger than the afternoon. So if you're going to get it, those might be the best hours, sometime between 6 a.m. or sunrise through noon. And then you may get another little increase in the afternoon. We saw that last night where the winds came up, but it was after dark. It came up to about, I think, 19 or 20 knots. So if that helps you at all, then Hey, more time on the water is good, and we wish you guys the best of luck. I think that's going to wrap it up for this forecast, and have a great weekend.